Hey, it's Clayton Olson, and in this video, we're going to be talking about 5 ways to create trust in a new partnership or connection. And this will work also if you've already been dancing relationally with somebody for a while. So as I dive into these points, if you've got any questions, you've got any counterpoints, I want you to comment below. If this is your first time seeing me, my name's Clayton Olson. I've been doing this work for 12 years with people, helping them rewire the deeper patterns underneath their most painful experiences in love and relationships so that you can start to live a life that you love and create love that lasts. So join the community, hit the subscribe button, and let's dive in. So I'm really excited about this topic specifically because trust and creating from secure connection, secure attachment is the holy grail of relationship. Without trust, we don't have a relationship because a relationship is built on a set of agreements that we create with another person. And if we can't trust ourselves or we can't trust them, we will be building on a bed of sand that will allow this precious thing that we've got to just erode over time or very quickly in some cases. So as I go into these, I'm going to start from the least important, the outer ring of creating trust coming from secure attachment, going down into the deeper identity levels of how do we create trust? How do you be a stand for creating more trust in a connection? Because what does this do? Well, not only does the relationship have more of a chance of lasting, but when you can create more trust in a connection with somebody, you're going to feel more free. They're going to feel more free with you. Both of you are going to have more freedom and flexibility and expansiveness to really be yourself and be loved for it, rather than have it occur as an exhausting venture where you're trying to get to some endpoint. And that's another piece I want to name is if you have found dating exhausting, getting to know people exhausting, this video might help because oftentimes when we find something such as dating exhausting, it's usually because there is a way in which we are not fully being ourselves, or we are partaking in one of the things I'll mention in this video here that actually causes a schism in our personality and for us to not feel fully connected and alive and expressive in the experience. So let's go ahead and start with number 5. Number 5 is keep the small promises, which means be a person of integrity. Okay, now that sounds like an obvious thing, right? Don't lie. Have integrity. But here's the thing, a first impression, it is so important. And it's not the big lies that get us, although those are very obvious. It's the small things. Are you calling when you say you're going to call? Are you showing up at a certain venue the time you're going to show up? Are you exaggerating? Are you saying things that are not actually true to get a reaction, or exaggerating in some way to curate the best version of yourself for that person? If you are doing this, not showing up on time, not being where you say you're going to be, not following through on things that you say you're going to do, what ends up happening is you start to create a first impression that is untrustable. And here's the thing, human beings, when we come together, our threat detection system is on high alert. We are looking naturally for inconsistencies because what we want to find out is this person that I'm getting to know a friend or a foe? A friend or a foe? Those are the two categories that our reptilian brain puts people in. And so anything that you are doing that is divorcing you from you, that is having you bring forth something that's not true, act in unreliable, inconsistent ways, things that perhaps your friends and family will let you get away with, but on a first date or in the first beginning months of getting to know somebody, you will end up just naturally getting slotted into an untrustworthy person because you're not showing up in a way that you say you want to, and you're not showing up in a way that you really are. So keep the small promises, keep the hyperbole out of the conversations, and do your best to show up consistent with your word and as authentic as possible in who it is that you are presenting as. And coming in at number 4 is trust the pacing. Remember, rushing a connection kills trust. Going slow is smooth, and smooth is safe. Whenever we try to manufacture closeness and move things along too quickly, what inevitably happens is there is a way in which we are trying to manage the connection because we're not trusting that if we take our eye off of it or we let go of it momentarily and surrender to what's occurring, that it will continue to move forward. This is often a belief of somebody who might be more anxiously attached in the beginning stages of partnering with somebody. And so it's really important to keep that in check because that lack of trust, that lack of trusting the natural momentum of how something wants to emerge and open will transfer over to the other person that you're in connection with. They will feel your constriction. They will feel the ways in which you might be trying to control something, and they will feel controlled, and they will also feel distrusted. So we create within the relational field the energetic that we're embodying, that we're acting from. So if you're not trusting life, if you're not trusting the power of the connection you're creating, then that will translate as a felt experience in the relational system with each other. Some words of encouragement around this are just to enjoy the mystery. Realize that the mystery, the space, the not knowing in the beginning stages of how something's going to go, and the uncertainty of it is all part of what creates the excitement, the passion, the aliveness. And all those things are really important resources that then get brought into the relationship that create more excitement as the two of you get to know each other and create more certainty and stability as time goes on. And coming in at number 3 of ways to build trust in a relationship are for you to track what matters. Track yourself and track the other person, what they're saying. So one way we do this is we listen. Get really good at listening. Get really good at listening to yourself. Get really good at listening to the other person. And for this one, we're going to focus on listening on them. So notice when they're sharing something about themselves, where are you? How are you listening to them? Are you waiting for your turn to speak? Are you immediately opening up the filing cabinet in your mind, trying to come up with something where you can relate to them or impress them, or maybe say, hey, yeah, me too. My encouragement here would be to listen from a place of nothing. Listen from emptiness. Listen to what they're saying and take it all in and get really curious. What are the follow-up questions that you have there? What is the thing they're revealing? Open up about maybe the deeper things that they value. What are they saying right now that hits an emotional chord with them? When people begin to open up and talk about their life, their work, their past, there's really sacred and beautiful, precious components that are being revealed in that. And when you can listen well and listen intently and ask follow-up questions, you are demonstrating care for the other person. And when you're demonstrating care, you will naturally create more trust. The person will feel that they can unfold with you, that they can reveal more of who they are, and that they are in front of a willing participant who is ready to receive them. So notice how you are showing up and what you are tracking in your listening with them. Another caveat to this as well is you don't have to fake curiosity, right? If they're going on and on about something that begins to lose your interest, what can also build trust is you giving yourself permission to direct the conversation into something that you are interested in actually talking about. So rather than trying to fake curiosity and stay engaged with something that really doesn't have your interest, where can you step in and be a leader of the conversation and begin to ask questions about things that are going to bring you more into presence about what's actually happening, right? You don't have to sit back and just let them talk the entire time and just ask questions. Take ownership of the dialogue and notice, what is it that I can talk about or ask questions about that's going to bring us into deeper territories where both of us can feel like we're really meeting each other on a deeper, more authentic, more soul level. And coming in at number 2 of ways to build and create trust in a relationship are for you to honor your no and be willing to name what it is that you don't want, what it is that you are available for, what you're not available for, what you want, what you need, what you don't want. When you can bring these things to the table, what you're bringing to the table is your boundaries. And your boundaries, we can say, are the definition of who you are. The things I'm a yes to and the things I'm a no to. This is how you bring who you are into these early stages of relationship. And if you are too busy, stuck in a pattern of dismissing your own needs or feeling like you don't want to rock the boat or make them uncomfortable, or you want to be accommodating and overly people-pleasing, then you're not really bringing your defined self into the connection with the other person. And how are they going to get to know you if they don't know where you stand with yourself, or if they don't know where they stand with you? So when you are able to give yourself permission to draw boundaries and say no, then it makes people around you safe because there's something solid that they run into. And of course, you don't have to do this in some type of aggressive, righteous way, right? It's just being able to have an opinion about something and also be able to say no, thank you, if you're a no. I've heard from some very prolific authors too, which I think is very true, is that whenever we are able to really honor our no and speak our no, our yes can be trusted. Because if we can't occupy a no powerfully, then Our yes might come from a place of obligation. It might come from a place of compromise. It might come from a place of us being a chameleon and shape-shifting, which is ultimately untrustable because we don't really know who we are in that situation. And therefore, the other person starts to feel uneasy around us about whether or not we really are game for something or whether or not. And that creates distrust and insecurity in the relational system. And finally, coming in at number 1 is show what's real, not what's impressive. Now, this is the core of it all. If we want to build something real, we have to show up as our most authentic self. And the best way to talk about authenticity that I have found is to talk about what authenticity is not. And there are 3 ways that I see people fall into patterns of inauthenticity in the beginning stages of building a connection with somebody. The first one is they slip into the role of being a pleaser. They become overly accommodating, tracking the other person's needs more than their own. 2, you start to perform. How you perform is you're looking to get some type of end result. You want them to be attracted to you. You want to impress them. You want to move the interaction towards some place by curating only your best self and not really being vulnerable. You're performing. Or 3, you're bringing a natural distrust into the situation by protecting yourself. When we're protecting ourselves, we're taking past baggage and wounding and we're bringing it into the present moment, and we're looking at that person through this protective lens, looking for red flags, looking for ways that we might get taken advantage of. And unfortunately, when we look for these kind of things, we tend to spot them. Even if they're not there, we tend to make a mountain out of a molehill, right? Or we end up closing off, shutting down our curiosity, and not actually being available to get to know the person, because to get to know somebody takes risk, and we can't be in a protected place and truly grow in deeper intimacy with somebody. So if you find yourself pleasing, performing, or protecting, one of those patterns might be your default way of how you divorce from your authenticity. The first step is just to track it. Notice where it's there. Notice why it's there. Why is it coming up? What am I trying to get here? Where am I not allowing myself just to be fully present? See, to be fully present is to be vulnerable. That's what most people experience too. When I am not pleasing and I'm not going into that pattern, when I'm not performing and trying to be the best or impress the person, or I'm not protecting myself, then I'm being present. And if I'm being fully present, there's something very vulnerable about that, because I'm not trying to push the interaction forward. I'm just being with what is. And I'm trusting that the connection can guide the way versus me trying to control it, move it along, or stop it in a premature way. So this really comes down to learning how to take off these masks, the pleaser, the performer, the protector, and allowing yourself to rest in the vulnerability of being you when you're getting to know somebody. And I get that that can be easier said than done. But the more that you can notice the places where you abandon yourself, the way that you would show up with people that you love, like friends and family, where you're super comfortable and super relaxed and open, the more that you can see the different roles that you start to wear to protect yourself, the more that you can begin to call your own power back to you. And I believe that where all your power lives is in your connection with yourself when you're getting to know somebody. Because when you're deeply connected to yourself, you can trust yourself. And when you can trust yourself, other people can trust you. And when other people can trust you, there's going to be trust created in the relational system more deeply. Now, I've got a guide that I've created that actually goes deeper into the pleaser, the protector, and the performer. So if you can identify with any of those things, I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can go ahead and click on that and check out this free PDF that I created to help you identify it more clearly. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. And this is the work that I do with people, who are coming out of relationships. Maybe they're going through a divorce or a breakup. They're trying to get back on their feet and date, break toxic cycles they've been in. So if you're looking for some one-on-one support and you'd like some guidance, someone to walk next to you as you continue to create yourself and create a life that you love and love that lasts, feel free to fill out a coaching application below in the description as well. And I'd love to start a dialogue. Thanks for watching.